My bracket is all filled out, and what else matters? It's March Madness. I don't need to hear about oil prices. I don't need to hear about what the president's going to do. Crazy people. I want one more word about Tucker or Megyn Kelly or Candace or any of those losers, and they are losers. I only hope that the tide is turning, but I have real concerns about 20 to 29-year-old men really falling for this stuff. And so I don't know how one gives up the fight right now. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz today, and the president is taking questions, so let's go to it. Hit it, Landon. It is the president of the United States. His name is Donald Trump. You've seen pictures. It is Sanai Takachi, the prime minister of Japan. And there were a lot of pleasantries between the two. Japan sees a real opportunity with the United States, with this prime minister, to set itself in the conversation of hegemonic powers in the Pacific Rim. Or maybe said differently, not to be abused or overrun by the communist Chinese. Not weakness, absolute strength. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Find everything I do over at TonyKatz.com. Come be a part of what we're doing. I'm going to let people know that we are live streaming how do I say this? Come be a part. That's it. A part of the show. Live streaming on YouTube at Tony Katz, Twitter X, Tony Katz, Facebook, which stinks, Tony Katz today. Meanwhile, the president answering questions from the assembled press in the Oval. And after Pete Hegseth's press conference this morning, where he was his most direct, I would say. It was very clear, guys, the press is all ridiculous. You all are just consumed with your Trump hate. We're winning this fight. We're going to win this fight. And that's dang well all there is to it. The end. Absolutely no exceptions.
Here today, speaking to you, the American people, not through filters, not through reporters, not through cable news spin. A dishonest and anti-Trump press will stop at nothing. We know this at this point. To downplay progress, amplify every cost, and call into question every step. Sadly, TDS is in their DNA. They want President Trump to fail. But you, the American people, know better.
I'm sorry. That's the story. That's the story of the Tucker puppets and Candace and Megyn Kelly and all the rest. They clearly want to lose. They want to lose to a terrorist regime supporting terrorist regimes. It's the weirdest stuff ever in the history of ever. Being opposed to war, saying, hey, we shouldn't have done this, there are other things we could have done, that'd be one thing. That would be one thing. That isn't what we're hearing here. This is, how dare you side with that nation? You're being led by that nation, which is to demoralize the troops, and is a very un-American thing to say, and lose because you can't win in the Middle East. Can't win if you don't actually fight the way you need to fight. And I would like this to be done with and the regime destroyed so we can, I don't know, not talk about the Middle East for a week. Let's talk about African nations. Let's talk about South America. Let's talk about the future of Cuba. Let's talk about puppies. Anything but this. There's a contingent out there that wants the president to fail, wants America to lose. And yes, that is absolutely true of mainstream media. And I'm glad Pete Hegseth, the secretary, said something. But President Trump in the Oval just moments ago, taking questions.
Mr. President, are you fully satisfied with the level of support that you're getting from Japan on Iran, including around minesweepers?
This is about support. Are you satisfied with the level of support you're getting from Japan on Iran? Well, the prime minister's right there, so okay. Maybe that's a legit question, but the president is going to say, I really like her. I endorsed her. I support her. She's been helpful. And sure, she could be more helpful because, of course, that's what he's going to say. I haven't even heard the answer yet. I'm hearing this for the first time, just like you. When I get the chance to do that, I like to bring it. I like it when we experience it together. But that's exactly what he's going to say. You know what he's going to say. This should be a new drinking game. What is the president going to answer with? He's going to answer with, I like her, I support her, she's doing a great job. Everyone could always be a little more supportive. If she wants to offer more support, she's more than welcome to. She's right here. What does he say?
We're going to be speaking about it today. Go ahead, you can go.
She's answering, and there will be a translator that will respond. Yeah, not the easiest radio.
We're going to be speaking about it today. We've had tremendous support and relationship with Japan on everything. And I believe that based on statements that were given to us yesterday, the day before yesterday, having to do with Japan, they are really stepping up to the plate. Yes.
That was super nice. Very, very nice. Even a little unlike him in that regard.
Unlike NATO. Please.
Mr. President, do you intend to lift sanctions on Iranian oil, and do you intend to potentially put U.S. troops or more troops in the region?
No, I'm not putting troops.
If they're going to do the
Unlike NATO.
out loud each time, that's what
Please.
Mr. President, do you intend to lift sanctions on Iranian oil, and do you intend to potentially put U.S. troops or more troops in the region?
No, I'm not putting troops anywhere. If I were, I certainly wouldn't tell you, but I'm not putting troops, and we will do whatever is necessary to keep the price as low. I actually thought when I did this, look, the Dow just hit 50,000 a couple of weeks ago. They said that couldn't happen for 4 years. It wouldn't happen in my term. It's such an outrageous thing because I said it would happen. I didn't know it was going to happen that fast, but it just hit 50,000, and we did that in 1 year, not 4. S&P had just hit 7,000. They said that was even more impossible than the Dow hitting 50, and we did that in 1 year. So it was all done. Everything was going great. The economy was great. Oil prices were very low. Gasoline was dropping to, I mean, we had $1.99, $1.85. We had great everything. And I saw what was happening in Iran, and I said, I hate to make this excursion, but we're going to have to do it. And I actually thought the numbers would be worse. I thought that it would go up more than it did. But we're doing this excursion, and when it's completed, we're going to have a much safer world. And the prime minister agrees with me in this. She considers it to be terrible what Iran did. I think every country does, just about every country does. Iran is a serious threat to the world, to the Middle East and to the world. And everybody agrees with me. I think virtually every country agrees with me on that. So I wanted to put out that fire. And I said, you know, if I do that, oil prices will go up, the economy will go down a little bit. I thought it would be worse, much worse, actually. I thought there was a chance it could be much worse. It's not bad, and it's going to be over with pretty soon. We've obliterated their Navy. We've obliterated their just about everything there is to obliterate, including leadership. Their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone, their anti-aircraft equipment is gone. We're flying wherever we want, Pete. We have nobody even shooting at us. They have, I mean, and as you know, their leadership is gone. Their leaders are gone. They pick new leaders, they're gone. They pick new leaders, they're gone. And now they're looking for new leaders again. We can take out the island if anytime we want. I call it the little oil island that sits there, so totally
That's
unprotected.
Karg Island, by the
We've
way.
taken
not
out
Little
everything
Oil
but the
Island.
pipes. We
Wait,
left the
Karg
pipes
mean Little Oil?
because to rebuild the pipes would take years for them to do. But we are, I would say, we are substantially ahead of schedule. And I had to do this. I call it an excursion. I had to take this little excursion.
We know you call it an excursion, Mr. President. And I think the people who are like, I hate that he says excursion. I'm so there. He's trying not to say war, right? That's obvious. But excursion is what you do when you're on a road trip to grandma's house and you decide to take a side road to see the world's largest ball of twine. It's not what you discuss or how you discuss sending the military to take out a terrorist regime. It's just not how you do it. this fight, this action, there are other ways to say this. So yeah, I get it. But this was twofold. First, trying to engage a little bit of expectations, which I think the dog is out of the yard or the horse has left the barn or whatever's already happened has happened. I don't know the expressions. I'm not much of a cliche guy. Oh, oil prices hit $119 on the Brent crude yesterday. Funny, I thought they'd be higher. It's a way of saying I'm not surprised by anything. But then there are the people on the political left who are saying Trump didn't realize that this would harm the Strait of Hormuz. You hate Trump? I don't care, right? You know that there are people listening who hate Trump. They are consumed, as Pete Hegseth talked about, with the TDS. The TDS is in their DNA. It's a great line. Is anyone going to honestly say that they believe, not that it's just something fun to say, that they believe that the plan to take out the Iranian regime didn't have a realization that the first thing Iran would do is try and clog the Strait of Hormuz? There are fourth graders out there who knew that. And some of them tutor Democrats in the Senate. Of course they knew. I'm going to breathe. There is simply no way that they didn't know that. It's an irrational argument, which is, of course, why they make it, because being irrational is part of the fun. Right? Being irrational is part of what they do. Of course they knew this. I thought it would be higher. Well, that's Trump being Trump. We've taken out everything we're going to take out, and then he said the words, this won't go on too much longer. Trump is watching the clock on the War Powers Act. War Powers Act allows him to do two things. It allows him to engage when he sees a threat to the United States. It is up to the commander-in-chief to make this decision. There's been an argument that the president is not allowed to decide what is imminent. And I put forth to you that only the president of the United States is allowed to do so. After all, that's why we vote for a president, a commander-in-chief. Someone has to make the call, and it is not Ilhan Omar, nor is it Elizabeth Warren. It's Donald Trump. It's the president of the United States. If it had been Kamala Harris, oh, the word salads. If it was Kamala Harris, she would be the one making the call, the commander-in-chief. That is all. We shouldn't deny the basics. Not in the slightest. The idea of imminent is too laughable. The idea that somehow you have to wait until the bomb is just over your head. You have to wait until you've already been attacked. All silliness. And this is what happens when children are in charge, who think about their emotions more than they think about how to destroy the enemy until the enemy is quite literally dead, which is a whole nother part of this conversation, that they don't understand what a war is. They don't understand. They don't. They don't know what it takes to win. They don't know what destroying the enemy means. They don't understand. They are children thinking that all of this is a children's game. We do a little bloop, right? And then we go home. It's not how you win. The regime has to be destroyed. And so we're clear, if the regime isn't destroyed, this was a failure. If the regime is not destroyed, this was a failure. I will say it again and again. I would say it to the president. I would say it to Pete Hegseth. Ends my career, so be it. This has to end with the Ayatollah and his regime being gone completely. Not just the Ayatollah dead, not just his son dead, no remnant and no power. That's that. That's my position. More from the president in this Q&A that happened in the Oval Office. Okay, did he put more gold in there? Is anybody looking? It's a lot of gold. It's a lot of. Ooh. Maybe that's why gold prices went up. I'm Tony Katz, and this right here is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz. Tony Katz Today. Good to be with you. Yeah, we're working on some new intro, outro stuff there. We've got thrilled to be bringing aboard some new sponsors. Thrilled that Defiance Beef is going to be with us now on the live stream. If you want actual quality beef, aged 21 days, the strips, the tenderloins, the ribeyes, you want the soup bones. You want to order a quarter cow, half cow, full cow, flank steaks, skirt steaks, all of it. DefianceBeef.com. That's where you go. Use promo code Eat, Drink, Smoke, and we've got some very cool discounts. Right now, it's $150 off your order. DefianceBeef.com. Incredible. They're coming on board. And then Catch the Bad Guys, which is security. So this Armando, who does a lot of my work, incredible team, incredible people. We're talking about active security here. So it's more than just the idea of, hey, look, here's a video of someone stealing from us. No, authorities can be notified as things are happening. CatchTheBadGuys.com. So they're coming on board as well. Thrilled about it. By the way, this is a terrible way to have a freeze frame of President Trump. That is not, I apologize, Mr. President. That's just rude right there. Show is coming back. Let's do the thing. So I've got more of President Trump's presser coming up in just a bit. Tony Katz Today. Good to be with you. Jim Jordan, congressman, he is from Ohio. He's on Fox News, and he gets into a conversation of midterm strategy.
It's funny because when the question was asked, sir, I didn't know what he was going to say. But in my mind, I actually thought, well, the only thing that unifies them is going after President Trump. And that's exactly what Senator Fetterman answered it with. So that to me is that's accurate. We all see it every single day. We see it in committee markups, committee hearings. We see it all. We see it on the House floor. Their one thing that unites them, the one focus they have is going after President Trump. And I think part of it is because President Trump's that unique elected official who actually does what he said. He actually cut taxes like he said he would did. He actually secured the border like he told us he was going to do. He actually said we're not going to let Iran get nuclear capability. Here's a guy who does what he told the voters he was going to do when he ran for the job. We elected him, and he is doing what he said. I think that frustrates him in such a big way. But yeah, that's the one unifying principle they have on the other side.
Congressman Jordan, allow me. If the president of the United States is frustrated that all of the good things that have taken place and no one's talking about it, that's on you. Don't get angry with the Democratic Party for coming up with a strategy that, don't get me wrong, is gross, but the strategy is hate Trump. If you take a look at their pillars, right? Epstein is a pillar, right? That is a huge pillar of what it is they're going to talk about. Everything is about hating Donald Trump. That's the story. There's no policy conversation. There's no philosophy conversation. There's no how you make a better America conversation. It's only this. I'm out here talking about what's happening every single day. Your job is to sell your story. Where the hell are you? Now, you might get mad at me and say you want to wrestle. I don't wrestle fair. So I'm going to lose, but you're going to walk away with a limp. Just so we're clear, I am not going to fight fair at all. I don't know why your team, the people I want to support, are fighting fair in this fight. Why aren't you getting rough and tumble? Why aren't you punching these people in the philosophical, not the literal, settle down, violent Antifa-loving freaks? Why aren't you punching at these people? They shut down DHS. They're responsible for 4-hour, 5-hour lines at airports. They're responsible for people not being able to see grandma on spring break or being able to do tequila body shots. I don't know where you guys go. Maybe grandma likes a tequila body shot. Who am I to judge? But they can't get into the airports. They can't get onto the planes because of the lines. And where have you been to make that case, sir? If you want to argue what the Democrats are going to do, the rest of us are going to say, yeah, no, duh. Where have you been to counter it? Where have you been to fight it? Where's your party been? And you know, I'm saying about you, Congressman Jordan, I understand this isn't all on you, of course. I'll put it on Speaker Johnson. I'll put it on Leader Thune. Where's the fight, boys? Where is the fight to get this handled? Where is the pushback? Any of it? We've all been wondering. We've all been waiting. We've all been asking. And I will say that the people here, we're having these conversations. We're doing, quote unquote, our job because we're discussing these are the things that work. And yes, there are things we have questions about. Don't get angry that Democrats are going to sell a story of Trump bad. That's the only playbook they have. They took an entire look at how they lost the election in 2024 and then said, you know what? Forget all that. Keep hating Trump and elect Zoran Mamdani, a commie whose wife is a Jew-hating bigot like Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib. Oh, also talking derogatory about people who are gay and black. You can't beat that, Congressman Jordan? Maybe Republicans aren't trying hard enough. I'm Tony Katz. By the way, if we wrestle, I'm really going to lose. I am absolutely. All right, he's not in my weight class, but I am going to lose that fight. Just so we're clear. But I'm totally fighting dirty. What was that? You think I'm going to get Jim Jordan in a headlock? No. I would absolutely try to put up the fight. Don't get me wrong. I am not a shy guy. I don't mind losing, but you have to walk with a limp. There has to be a reminder that wasn't easy. Right? I actually think he could Iron Sheik Cobra Clutch me. Like it's that kind of thing right there. But if I get the chance, I'm going full Jimmy Superfly Snuka. I am coming from the top turnbuckle. Going down. I'll be doing pile drivers like Don Morocco. You don't even know who Don Morocco is, producer Landon. You don't even know. You don't even know. That's right. That is right. Can I say, I don't know who you are, Sean David Scott, but you are super nice when you come into the chat. It's always good afternoon. He's super nice. Oh, now look, now here's Pete. He's following it up. Everyone's learning. Look at that. Polite is good. Polite is good. Wait a second. Ric Flair didn't do atomic elbow. Didn't Ric Flair do figure fours? Whoo! I also am having a hard time keeping these alligators down. Yes, March 16th was Stone Cold Steve Austin Day. That is correct. But that is by that time I wasn't paying attention. I am really a child. Where's my brother? Where's the good Dr. Katz? He should call in. Because we watched Gordon Soley in Georgia Championship Wrestling. So Ric Flair, Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer, Dusty Rhodes, Tommy Wildfire Rich, those kinds of people is who we were watching in a ring that was set up somewhere in like a warehouse facility. The whole thing didn't make any sense whatsoever. But that was what we would be a part of. That's how we grew up with wrestling. And then, WWF, it was Bob Backlund and the Iron Sheik and those fights. And then it was Bob Backlund who brought in Hulk Hogan. And then it was what's happening here. And then I think after that, it was I would say it was kind of downhill for my viewing. That would be I'm going to say that would be downhill for my viewing. And Jeremy Allen White. No, the Von Erichs. Kerry Von Erich and Keith Von Erich, and the Iron Claw. I do recall that. And then I grew up in the time where watched in the time of JYD, Junkyard Dog. My favorite wrestler, for whatever reason, was Mr. Wrestling 2. He was better than Mr. Wrestling 1, but not as good as Mr. Wrestling 3, which is a Fingers Malloy line. And then, yes, Nikolai Volkov was there. It was good times. It was a good time for make-believe. Really was. Anyway, back to the show. Let's take it back to President Trump and the questions he was answering in this presser in the Oval. So President Trump is in the Oval Office with the Prime Minister of Japan, Sanai Takaichi. It's a much different Japan. It's actually a different South Korea, too, and I'll be very curious how that relationship goes. Tony Katz today. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. Live streaming on the YouTube. Come check it out. And don't forget, I'm told I'm supposed to say, smash the like button. But if I say that, I sound like a moron. Yeah, producer Landon, just a note. I can't say that. I can't. No. I can't say smash the like button. That is not going to fly. We're not going to be doing that. Oh my gosh. Some things just sound unnatural when coming from me, and that's one of them. But come on into the chat as well, live streaming on YouTube. Just look for Tony Katz on Twitter X, Tony Katz, on Facebook, Tony Katz Radio, and on LinkedIn, Tony Katz. Also open to work. See, also sounds ridiculous for me. But if you have a good brand opportunity, I'll share it with the people in the chat room, and they'll decide whether or not you're worthy. The president is having this presser, and he's taking questions from the press assembled. And of course, one of the questions was, "What's the latest with Iran? And are we going to see troops on the ground?" And Trump said, "Listen, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do." And he keeps referring to it as an excursion. He calls it an excursion. I do wish he wouldn't do that because it's diminishing what's happening. I mean, we have 13 dead American soldiers. Don't call it an excursion. He's trying to find a way to say it's not war. Don't call it an excursion. But back to the president here as he's midway through this presser that took place earlier today.
And do something that no other president had the courage to do. And everybody wanted to do it, but they never had the courage to do it. And I don't blame them. I'm not blaming them. It was left to me, and we've done a great job. Our military is incredible. We have an incredible military. We have the strongest military in the world by far. We have the greatest equipment in the world by far. In fact, Japan buys our equipment, buys a lot of it, and we're honored by that. And that's one of the things we'll be talking. They want to buy a lot of the military equipment. So it's just an honor to have the prime minister. We've had a tremendous relationship. Okay.
Mr. President, Mr. President.
I think she's going to have to go first before you. Is that okay? Do you understand? It's very good. I'll tell you. I mean, it's so nice that we don't have to sit. No, it's very good. I haven't picked up your language, so the next time you come, I'll have your language mastered. All right, go ahead.
I swear to you right now, if Trump starts learning Japanese and speaking Japanese to the prime minister of Japan, they're going to build statues to him. Also, I don't think he's going to learn Japanese, but I'll be watching that one.
Why is the Pentagon going to ask Congress for an additional $200 billion?
Well, we're asking for a lot of reasons beyond even what we're talking about in Iran. This is a very volatile world, and the military equipment, the power of some of this weaponry is unthinkable. You don't even want to know about it. Oh, you could end this thing in 2 seconds if you wanted to, but we are being very judicious. But we want to do. Don't forget, Biden gave away. I rebuilt the military in my first term. Biden gave away so stupidly to Afghanistan a lot. He didn't want to move it. He was too lazy, too stupid to move it. But it was a very small amount. It was a lot, but it was very small relative to what I purchased and what I built. We want to have vast amounts of ammunition, which we have right now. We have a lot of ammunition, but it was taken down by giving so much to Ukraine. They gave so much. You know, Biden gave $350 billion worth of cash and military equipment to Ukraine, and he didn't rebuild anything. Fortunately, we have a lot. We have a tremendous, unlimited supply of what you'd call middle and upper middle armaments and military equipment, munitions, armaments, but munitions in particular. At the high end, we have a lot, but we're preserving it. We don't really need it, but we're building. Our manufacturers of military equipment are building at a level they've never seen before. They've never done before. Pete's in charge of it with all of us, really. But Pete's been very strong on it. The general and Pete, myself, the whole group. And Raytheon is building 4 factories. Lockheed is building 5 or 6 factories, and they're building them fast because we had a very tough meeting with them. They were going out and buying back stock for $51 billion in one case. They spent $51 billion buying back stock. Now they're not allowed to do that. And they are now building a tremendous, there's never been anything like it, what's taking place right now. So we're in very good shape, but we want to be in the best shape we've ever been in. We were that, when I rebuilt the military, we were in great shape, and then Biden blew it, and he didn't do anything. He didn't do anything. And if you listen to the Democrats, they don't even want to have a military. Now you see how important it is.
That line, they don't even want to have a military. The problem with my argument is that it makes it very easy for someone to say, you're a warmonger. You just want to see us go to war. You got this military. You want to just go break things and do damage and hurt people and put lives at risk. That is not it. Those people who are rational and honest understand what I'm saying, but it makes it easy for the person who's desperate for their narrative to say that. The idea that we should have a military, and the military's job is to look really good in its uniform and practice marching. That's not the job of a military. we should be able to discuss whether or not a move, an action is the right action. We should be able to discuss this. We should discuss this. It should be of great debate. But the idea of forever wars and you're sending somebody else's kid to die, you have no idea what forever is. Any action is a forever war. It's Marjorie Taylor Greene dumb. And you're sending somebody else's kid to die. You're always sending somebody else's kid. I've mentioned this before. I just don't. I can't stop pushing back on this disgusting narrative. I served in the military and you should sign up and you're okay with sending somebody else's kid to die, but not your own. And I think it's very insulting of those who sign up. Don't they know what the possibilities are? Isn't that what makes them special? That they're willing to do this thing? Not that we should send people willy-nilly, not that we should send people untrained or without the proper weaponry. When we were talking about things like Iraq or Afghanistan and the idea of whether or not they had the right armament, and remember, it was a whole thing about Jeeps and other vehicles being armored up. And how possibly could we send someone in without everything together? That is something legitimately to be disgusted by, angry by, and say, stop this. You'll note that no one has made that case here. Hasn't been made in the slightest. No, the argument is actually a left-wing argument. The left-wing argument is to make the claim that there is never a moment where we should be on the offense to take out the enemy. We should only react. Now, you can actually take that conversation and see how they treated Israel regarding October 7th, regarding attacks from Iran. Israel is not allowed to take out Hamas. They're not allowed to engage the attack. They're not allowed to be on the offensive. And you could argue Israel is the only country they do that with. No, clearly they also do it with the United States. And after all, Israel doesn't have to do any of this. They've got the Iron Dome. The Iron Dome is a defensive weapon. Missiles are coming in, and it finds those missiles, targets them, and hits them. But it doesn't hit every missile. So some missiles get through, and some people die. And the argument from the left is, that's okay. That's the price you pay. Sucks to be you. What an insane argument. You are only allowed to have defensive capability, and when that defensive capability is exhausted or misses, what do you know about that? What kind of crazy person? Now, maybe it's possible. Maybe it's possible that you never thought of it in this way. I mean, you're living your lives. You've got jobs. This is what I do. But who would possibly make this argument? What a maddening thing that they should just sit back and take it. Well, they've now made it again. They're making it with the United States. The argument from the left, the whole argument from the left is that there's no reason to take out the Iranian regime. It doesn't matter how much terrorism they sponsor. It doesn't matter that they sponsor the Houthi rebels and they attack ships in the Red Sea, and now they're afraid to travel. They're trying to engage control of the navigable seas. We took ourselves down to the shores of Tripoli and beat the living snot out of the Barbary pirates, those little sniveling bitches, for capturing what would be Americans and putting them as slaves. What? Oh, they don't teach that in history. Right, slavery only went one way. It wasn't utilized worldwide. Slavery is pure, raw, unadulterated evil. But if we're going to have a history lesson, kids, we're going to have the whole history lesson. It is the position of the left and, yes, the woke right to make the claim that there's never a reason I disagree with that wholeheartedly. There is reason. And when we decide that the reason is there, and the President of the United States, who is elected by the people, says this is what we're doing, we need to go in with overwhelming force and destroy the enemy until they are dead. Not wounded, not hurt, dead, and everybody else is begging you to stop. So, other presidents could have made this move. Remember, we should have made this move since 1979. We haven't. We are now. He's on the clock with it. We'll have more from the press conference coming up. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Now, maybe it's because the weather has changed, but it's back to the runny nose. So weird. So this is, nobody believes the narrative you're chattering. Oh gosh, I didn't realize you were just going to be crude, man. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you were as much of a schmuck as your mother. Okay, we're moving on. Honestly, this war is not going to be won by America. To stand a chance, you're going to need Rambo or Arnie. America spends $2 million to take out a $20,000 drone. Now, first of all, thank you for watching the show. My gosh, what an absolutely ridiculous statement about how it won't be won by America, unless you're talking about not just this action, but some other kind of war. Are you? Now, as to the drones, so this has been a very interesting conversation. That you have these drones that are rather inexpensive, and our defense is a more expensive proposition. And so how can you do that? Well, first things first, and not that I want to outspend, but we can outspend everybody. We just can't. But this is why you've had the Ukrainians say, hey, we can assist. That's why, as we spoke to Chuck DeVore, the Texas Public Policy Foundation, what we're finding is we're having really good results with Black Hawk helicopters and mounted machine guns to take down the drones. I think one of the things that's learned here is that we need a better response to drone warfare. We have things that work. We do need things that are more cost effective. Yeah, we can do that. We can build that. For sure. But hey, if you want to root against America, you're more than welcome to do so. We'll just notice. We will just notice. Right there. And I wasn't cursing like a sailor. It was more like some spirited talk. Right? I think that's that. I think it's more like spirited talk. What else do we got there, Producer Landon? What else is going on? Yeah, I got that. I got it. Yeah. All right, we'll move out from the president's presser right here. Oh, look at you. Go on with the propaganda. You could try this all you want. You lose, Boychik. You lose. How many more Iranian commanders are dead? How many more Iranians are feeding intel to the Israelis to destroy Iranian commanders? This is not the case. You're just wrong, right? If you didn't mean it in a kind of propaganda way, okay. Hey, you know what? Let's be here about this. Let's not think ill of each other. But you're just wrong. You're just wrong on how it is seen. The Arab world wants the Iranian regime gone. There's no doubt here. No question. I mean, there's no question. None. Less than none. Oh man, now people think I was cursing. I wasn't cursing. Stop. Until I hear from my stations to say, how dare you, I wasn't cursing. I was firm. I'll leave it there. Did I curse, Producer Landon? Oh, yeah, I say that rarely. I've actually been proactive about trying to say it less. Right? But it worked for here. Yeah. Should I spend $500 on cigars? Maybe. It's the Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust combo. So it's the it's all three. It's the deep cut sampler. It is the essential sampler. It's the U-boats and the black and blue unicorn. It's a lot of cigars. Not cheap, but I might. So that press conference going on, but one of the questions President Trump asked in the Oval Office he's talking about Jerome Powell, chairman of the Federal Reserve. Interest rates are staying right where they are. And that is going to frustrate some people. But when the producer price index, manufacturing, right, wholesale prices, I should say, comes in at 0.7, which if you multiply by 12 months is 8.4% inflation. That's rough. That's real bad. That is Biden era bad. So decision came before this report. There was no question that interest rates are going to stay where they are. The inflation is not gone. It's not. As much as I want it to be gone, it's not gone. How did the president answer? So as you can see, that relationship is going great. One of the places where I disagree with the president, I want to lower the interest rates. Nothing says lower the interest rates. Nothing. Now, there's an argument that one can make, counter to mine, which is we have held the interest rates at these numbers, right? We've held the interest rate where it's at. And nothing's changed. Maybe a change in the interest rates would make things better. Maybe if you changed it, you lowered it. Listen, you told us the tariffs were going to do all these things to the economy. It didn't until this report. You understand that the producer price index going to 0.7% is manufacturers saying, you know what? We can't absorb these tariffs anymore. We're passing them along. And when tariffs get passed along by the producer, tariffs will get passed along by the retailer. And they will be paid by the consumer. Tariffs are not paid by other countries. They're paid by us. It's like corporate taxes. Oh, we need to tax corporations more. Paid by the people who buy things from those corporations. Corporations don't pay taxes. People do. Milton Friedman was right. So we've got the reserve rate at 3.5 to 3.75. Would we see somehow a great opportunity if we lowered? I don't see it, but if Kevin Warsh gets in, you're going to see it. This is Tony Katz today. Kevin Warsh is the pick from President Trump to be the new chair of the Federal Reserve. So expect some things. All right, here's what we got going on. The show is in a commercial break, so we will be in commercial break. That's how we do it. Hang loose, kick back, smoke them if you got them. All is going to be good. We'll be back in a little bit. Stay right where you are. Welcome back, guys. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Let me go through some of the comments. So, are we not fans of the new break music? No? Okay. Not sure. Yeah, a little hippy dippy trippy. But they were made by Sarah. And if you don't know Sarah, Sarah is like Sarah's a crunchy conservative. Like she is all about conservatism, but also here is a fine granola recipe. That is Sarah. It's totally who she is, who does all our digital work. True or false, Sarah, who there on the chat is Bonner Rooster. True or false? That's what you are. You are crunchy, hippie. She said, take some dandelion and then boil it for 3 hours and then pour it in a circle and pray to Mother Gaia and it'll get rid of your cold and your gout. She does. That's who she is. There it is. 100 accurate. And you know she's serious because she's got the little wrench. All right, let's see where we are here. Oil right now at $97.89 on the West Texas crude. The Brent crude at 110, so the spread is $12. Wow. It could mean nothing to the pro, but usually the spread is $3 or $4, and lately it's been $8, and now it's $12. Like, okay. Okay, then. Let me get this right here. There's that. Just grabbing everything I need for the show right here. No, he did not. He's here, he's there, and no one really cares. Joe Kent. Tony Katz today. Guys, good to be here and good to be with you. Find everything over at TonyKatz.com. This is the, what do you want to call him? The guy, just call him a guy, who was running the National Counterterrorism Center, who said he could not in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. And so he resigned. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. Bah, Felicia. You know, when we talk about draining the swamp, it's guys like this, right? Oh, yeah, he came in with great fanfare, and he was going to do the job, and he's got a history, and he's got a story. And you wouldn't think that, like, what would be the issue here? Man. Our government is loaded with people who just aren't really about the country. That's my take. And my take comes from not a disagreement about Iran, but rather taking 18 days to get your resignation in order. We bombed Iran on a Saturday. By Sunday, you should have resigned. If you disagreed with it by Sunday, you should have resigned. 18 days. Maybe it took a while to do the coordination to make sure that you had the interview set for Tucker and Candace. Because if there was ever anything out there that looks like a grift, it is indeed this. It is the move to go on the Tucker podcast. First thing out of the gate. It is to go on this podcast and then tell everybody that, you know what? Allow me to share with you my last conversation with Charlie Kirk.
And Charlie Kirk was one of President Trump's closest advisors, and he also advocated heavily against a war with Iran. He was in the Oval Office in the lead up to the 12-day war. I wasn't particularly close with Charlie. He was very gracious to me when I was running for Congress, very, very supportive. So we knew each other. And the last time I saw Charlie Kirk on this earth was in June in the West Wing, in the stairway. And I said hi to him, and he looked me in the eye, and he said very loudly, and it's a small, you've been in the West Wing, it's small, it's a tight space. And he said, Joe, stop us from getting into a war with Iran.
I personally find it ugly. Maybe others don't. I don't quite understand those people. 18 days to resign after Charlie Kirk looked you in the eyes and said, don't let us get into a war with Iran. 18 days. If anything smells like, looks like, has the feel of a guy trying to figure out how he was going to make his money and how his future was going to go, this is exactly what it would look like. Exactly. It's hard to, it's got to be hard for a lot of people out there who think that social media is real life and thinking that all these people are very, very in the corner of Tucker, of Megyn Kelly, of Nick Fuentes, of Joe Kent. And there's more and more polling data that shows that that is not the case. Now, I would tell you, just like you would tell me, never believe any one poll. The story is over there at the New York Post. And the story is that Republicans overwhelmingly back President Trump over Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly on Iran. Right? The numbers show 83% of likely Republican voters strongly or somewhat support Operation Epic Fury. 9% say they strongly or somewhat oppose military action against Iran. 3/4, 74%, say the U.S. should continue its campaign until Iran's military capabilities are destroyed. 16% saying that the war should stop immediately. And compared to Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly, 83% of likely Republican voters trust Trump's judgment. 6% place more confidence in the former Fox host. That's how it is indeed written. What are we looking at, and is it real? I will share with you that I'm not sure if it's real, but I'm absolutely concerned by it. My concern, and I was actually, I met with some people who I know, like, and trust, who I think know more about certain segments of this than I do. My concern is 20 to 29-year-old men. It's an age group that you don't usually hear about. It's a thought that people don't have. And allow me to share an idea or a theory with you, and we can agree, disagree. We can go forward from there. We have seen a move in younger people to the political right. And a lot of this move has been men. Why have young men been moving to the political right? Because the political left hates them. We're not saying that they have a disagreement. It's a hate of men. It's a hate of masculinity. It's a hate of strength. It's a hate. You take a look what goes on college campuses. Let's start with the rates of admissions. Colleges don't care if they admit men. They care that they admit women, and they care that they admit people of name your group. That's what they care about. Being a place of that they want men to be. No. Men are the problem. Men are too aggressive, toxic masculinity, and all the rest. We see this over and over again. You see that the vast majority of degrees are held by women. Of course, in studies that don't mean anything. Your gender studies degree doesn't help anyone except you get an HR job from somebody else with a gender studies degree. Be angry with me. Send your emails if you want. Send them, if you would, to Tucker Carlson at noonegivesacrap.net, and I am sure that he will send it my way. College for women, universities only going after women. How many women are graduating? How many women are part of it? How can we show the numbers and look at our great diversity? None of that has to do with men. And then on the college campus, it is need a safe space. You're an abuser, men this, being accused of that, wrongly thought of as this. Why do you think men have such issues with dating? Well, if you've told men that they're violent their whole lives, they don't want to be violent, they don't want to say the wrong thing, they don't want to do the wrong thing, so they don't do anything. And they end up in their basement with video games and porn. Don't get me wrong, fun for a weekend, not a way to live a life. And they're living their lives this way. And it's horrifying. And they've been left behind, and they've been pushed aside, and they've been kicked out. And the feminist out there says, good. Now they'll learn. They were just coming into their own. They were just coming into manhood. They never did anything to you. They weren't thinking about doing anything to you. Trust me, feminist, no one is thinking about doing anything to you. You're so angry and so bitter and so hateful and so spiteful that you went on proactive attacks against men who never did anything to you, going after men and Toto, deciding that because of genitalia there is guilt, unless of course you claim to be a woman, then there's no guilt whatsoever because somehow the guilt does not actually go with the genitalia if you pretend you don't have the genitalia when you do. My gosh, that's a lot of mention of genitalia. Full-on assault and attack to diminish, to denigrate, to destroy, to emasculate. And men said, I'm out. And they pulled out of anything that the left was having to offer. And here came Donald Trump, who seemed like he was having a damn good time. It's totally fine to be a guy. And also there's a difference between men and women. And we are going to be tough. And we're not going to be shy about it. We're going to go out there and we're going to win. And that's how it works. And these other people could just kiss off. And they said, hot diggity. We sometimes refer to these people as low propensity voters. Rush used to talk about the low information voter. That's different. The low propensity voter is somebody who wouldn't normally come out to vote, but there was something special in the air. The low propensity voter is how you learned that there's a difference between the Trump brand and the Republican brand. Because the low propensity voter voted for Trump, and Trump won every single swing state. And the senators running in those races did not. Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, they voted for Jackie Rosen over Sam Brown, a guy who got disfigured in war. That's insane. Trump's coattails couldn't do that. Couldn't carry him. That guy. Never mind Wisconsin and the rest. There's a difference. And the low propensity voter was voting for Donald Trump. The low propensity voter saw the Trump brand as something they could be connected to. Men 20 to 29. Now, Tony, you keep saying men, but there were women who went to the right too. I don't disagree. There are absolutely women on the political right, and that number, I only hope, grows, and we should be proactive in grabbing it. The problem is the vast majority of women have already been lost to the left through social media. And, of course, this indoctrination regarding academia. Go on. Go ask your friends who have 19-year-old daughters or 23-year-old daughters. They will tell you what's what. And since progressivism, as women researchers, female researchers engage in this discussion, work more emotionally than rationally, and everything about progressivism is on an emotional tip. What rational person looks at Israel post October 7th and says they're the aggressor? No rational person. But if everything is viewed through the oppressed and the oppressor landscape, well, the Palestinians are brown and therefore they have to be oppressed. Just has to be. No other question is asked, and therefore whoever's attacking them, hitting at them, is the oppressor, even though they're being hit at Hamas, not the actual people. And the data shows that. Therefore, Israel's in the wrong. And that's how you get polling that shows more people favoring the Palestinians than the Israelis. That's how it works. That's how it is managed to be. There is a large swath of that younger woman that is lost to the left. Not all. Not all. And let me tell you something. You're a conservative 22-year-old woman these days? That's brave stuff. And just so you know, we see you. And way to stick to your guns. And if you ever need any backup, you just reach out. There are people all across the country who want to say, you go live your life and believe as you will, and your friends and your family and these academics and these violent people in the streets, they can't stop you. No. You're allowed to have your own thoughts. You're allowed to have your own minds and not even agree on everything. But you can agree that those people are nuts. If you start losing 20 to 29-year-old men, you start losing them to the belief that all their problems can be blamed on Israel, blamed on Jews. You could pick a group and you could scapegoat it and engage some of the oldest practices the world has ever seen. If you can do that, if you lose that, I just don't know how you get it back. I don't know how you win that back if you allow that venom. All of your problems, all of society's problems, warmongering, not enough money for you, and not enough money for this, not enough money for that. You know, that's Israel. Easy. That is a danger that must be confronted. Do I think that these numbers are accurate from the New York Post about Tucker and Candace and Megyn Kelly? I don't know, but I hope so. Does it mean that I'm worrying about nothing? I don't think it does. And I share it with you as I shared it with these friends last night, because this is the thing that keeps me up. I'm not trying to engage in hyperbole. I'm saying to you, I think about it a lot, and I go to bed later and later. You lose these young men. They finally feel like they're a part of something and that their strength, and then they can then say, instead of taking responsibility for their own lives, well, the problem is these people, this group, this, as opposed to what is the problem, which is not even a conversation whether or not you can have questions about any Israeli policy or our relationship in terms of foreign aid. I can have that conversation with 100 countries. It means if you lose them, you don't get them back. And you lose elections. And I believe that is the road to losing the country. I'm Tony Katz, and this right here is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz today. Glad you guys are here. I do appreciate it. Hopefully young men are learning that you must fight. I would love for that to be the case. But when you take a look at Tucker, Meghan, Candace, and this crew, so credit where it's due. Fingers Malloy, who's very good at this. If you take a look at Tucker and Meghan, just leave those two. They've got they don't need a dime. They're set. They're financially set. They have a popularity. They have audiences. Why go down this road? Why go down this most bigoted road? They believe it? Or is there a feeling that, if you want the money demo in advertising, it's 2554. It's 2554. That's the age group that you're going for. And hey, thanks for being here, David. Appreciate it very, very much. This is the way you get them. Get younger audiences so you can have more ramp to a career, and is that what they're doing? And so as he's discussing this with me, his fingers discussing this, we're having a cigar. What happens if you lose that group? What happens if you lose the 20 to 29-year-old? And then I said, well, the women you've kind of lost. Not everyone, true. What happens if you lose the men? I started walking myself through this math. I don't like any part of what I see. Anyway, back to the show. Cesar Chavez. Oh, he's a civil rights leader. Oh, he's so important. He should be revered. Engaging in sexual assaults. The late so-called civil rights leader, Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. New York Times putting out the story. 2 women who say they were assaulted when they were teenagers. The United Farm Workers, which Chavez co-founded, announced it was canceling celebrations honoring his birthday on March 31st. Because one of the women is Dolores Huerta, co-founder of the United Farm Workers. Am I supposed to what here? Maybe I cheer the reporting. The New York Times is a horrific organization, but when you get a story right, that's good stuff. When there's actual reporting, when you're willing to say of a progressive icon, there's a problem here. Now do Harvey Milk. That's something that's worthy of noting. You think it's going to change how people view him and share him? I have not seen the left get rid of their Che Guevara t-shirts or posters. That murderous son of a you-know-what. I don't know if it will. He brought attention to poor treatment of farm workers, advocacy for the rights of farm workers and immigrants, but not for the women around him. The farm workers movement is much bigger than one man. That was Governor Gavin Newsom of California wanting to say, hey, whatever he did, shame on him, but look at this great thing over here. I don't think we should be cheering the rape of women. And now that, you can actually just move forward without anybody remembering who he was. I mean, he died in 1993, right? So, yeah, we could just push him aside, keep the movement up, keep the communism going. Oh, it's not? Okay, well, then someone's got to tell me what it is. This is Tony Katz today. So this, by the way, Jim, first of all, I appreciate you putting that out there. I would not date at all if I was a 21-year-old in this setting. Similar to both my sons, neither date, the reason being as my post above stated. It's horrifying. It's horrifying. And what Jim wrote is, for males today, these are the rules. Only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. Men are only loved on the condition they provide something. Now, oh, damn, are you talking about something? Right? What you're talking about is the very worst of society, where there's this idea that your job is to bring money home. And you don't get to request anything of the home. Everybody else gets to do these things, and you just bring the money home. There's a large part of that. That's the Disneyfication of the family. When you would watch these shows or watch sitcoms where the woman is beautiful and bright and the kids are smart, one of them's goofy but still lovable. And the guy, the husband, the dad, always wrong, always saying the wrong thing. He's a schlub. He doesn't deserve this family. You just go and do the job. Right? So that's that. Yeah, that's really horrifying stuff. Not dating is also horrifying stuff. Now, producer Landon, you are a Gen Z guy. You are in your early 20s or mid 20s? What's 24 considered? We're going to go for mid 20s. 24 and 6 months? Yeah, mid 20s. If you're 24 and a half, you're also, if you're using the term 24 and a half, you're not doing it. Unless that's a shirt size, in which case you need a salad. That's an issue. Is dating tough? Are women that you're dating, your age group, overly demanding and unserious? When you say unserious, not over demanding, do you mean unserious about relationship or unserious about being invested in it together? Oh, so unserious about being invested in it together. Okay. That's a thing. That's a real thing. I thought you were dating a girl. I thought there was a lady friend. No. She's not into you. You have to drop her immediately. No. You're into her. She's not into you. You're wasting your time. Don't even bother. Just move on to the next. Then she'll see you with another girl, and then all of a sudden she'll come around, because I don't know why it's the way it works, but it does. Drop her immediately. Do not call. Do not text. And then after like a week and a half, like, sorry, just been busy. Got a lot of options out there. Got no time for people who don't see the good stuff right in front of them. Not yet. Start learning some respect for yourself, son. Thank you. Okay. Just trying to help Landon all I can. Three more things. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. These are stories that should be top line, but there's so much going on that they might get pushed off the front pages. They should not be at all. Let's start where it is, where we start. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is the governor of Arkansas. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders was at a restaurant in Little Rock, which is in Arkansas. She's there with two friends, both moms, and the owner of the Croissanterie, Croissanterie, Croissanterie. Probably a fancy little French place that does croissants and surrenders. It's there in Little Rock, and the owner kicked them out. The owner said their presence made employees feel threatened and uncomfortable. And that, kids, is what leftism does to you. It makes you a weak little child who can't handle the fact that the elected governor is having tuna fish on a croissant. By the way, you'll note I am not mocking croissants. Croissants are delicious. Buttery, flaky, And for the record, so you know, I have a croissant person. Cindy is my croissant person. That's not a joke. Cindy, Circle City Sweets, right here in Indianapolis, that's my croissant person. She does all my croissants. If I ever need like a batch of croissants, I call up Cindy, and I'm like, I need a batch of croissants, and she's like, oui, oui. And that's all the French I can do. Threatened and uncomfortable. So they left. And as they left, someone flipped the governor of Arkansas the bird. Now remember, it was Sarah Huckabee Sanders who was thrown out of a restaurant in Virginia called the Red Hen. Thrown out because she was the press secretary and she worked for Trump. I said at the time, and I want you to know that I'm still there, you do not have to serve anyone you do not want to serve. I oppose the concept of public accommodation. This idea that you have to serve the person in front of you. That's not freedom. Now, I didn't say that there weren't consequences for this. And I don't care if this little restaurant goes out of business, which stinks because when you're the governor, you want businesses to thrive and you want people to serve everybody. And we do have laws about these things, and I don't care if they're sued. But if we were to truly believe in the concepts of freedom, that means that people can be as disgusting as they choose to be. And you're allowed to hold up a sign, put up a sign in your business that says no gay people, no white people, no black people, no Hispanics, no Jews, no one named Dave. You go right ahead. It's your business. You run it any damn way you fit. And if you want to be a loser bigot, go be a loser bigot. I'm not going to be there. I'm going to tell my friends not to go. And I'm going to go to the place that says, hey, welcome, table for two. That's where I'm going to go. For the record, I feel the same way about smoking sections. What in the world is some state to decide you can't have smoking? Well, because it's secondhand smoke and it's bad for the employees. Tell the employees not to work there. I'll decide the marketing of my restaurant or my bar. I want to have smoking, and tell the state to pound sand. Who the hell are you to be my business partner? Nobody asked you anything. You don't know how to run a business. If you know how to run a business, you wouldn't have run for public office. That's in the main. Some people are good at running a business and have run for public office. But you're not my partner, and you don't get to decide for my marketing. I want a smoking section. I want to open a 1970s Three's Company Regal Beagle, and I want to have smoking, and I want to have everybody dressed like it's the 70s. I might even have Roller Girl from Boogie Nights there. Don't tell me how to run my business. I'll decide. By the way, that place would make bank. Bank. And I would call it the Regal Beagle. And every 5 feet, there would be a picture of Mr. Roper or Mr. Furley. Gold, Jerry. Chef's kiss, gold. Investors now welcome. I think that if we're talking about how to be free, you allow this because that's what happens. I didn't say that it was pretty. I didn't say it was right. I think it's ridiculous to throw her out. I'm saying that if we truly believe in freedom, you would allow business to do this. You'd have no problem with it. But we don't. And there are rules. And so this restaurant is going to have to deal with the ramifications. That's all there is. They're going to have to deal with the ramifications of their actions. Then we've got story number 2, that according to the sources, Golden Dome, the defense project of the United States, the idea of being able to take down missiles that are incoming, it's like Iron Dome, but bigger. It would run $185 billion. Costs have risen. And I say, sounds great. When do we start building? I favor Space Force. I favor Golden Dome. I favor the idea of engaging the protection of the nation against bad actors. And that's the Russians and that's the Chinese. You think they're going to go quietly into that good night? Could we not be silly? Could we not be fools? Speaking of being fools, Greta Thunberg, everybody. As we know, everyone's favorite abused child, now an adult. And we should be clear, she was an abused child. You take a 13-year-old, a 14-year-old girl, and you put her in front of all these television cameras and say, you're the face of saving the planet, and if you fail, we all die. Go. It's child abuse. Well, she has now gone from being someone who is all about saving the planet to all about supporting terrorism and those who engage in murder like Hamas. And now the full-on communism, where she thinks that it's wrong that there's an embargo or that oil has been stopped flowing to Cuba. This is her a couple of years ago.
It is what we decide now that will define the rest of humanity's future. And whether we choose to do that or not, if we don't, it will be a death sentence to countless of people. And it is already a death sentence to countless of people living on the front lines of the climate crisis today.
So there was a climate crisis. And things like oil were terrible, and we have to do something about it. But when Cuba is being kept from oil and the communist regime can collapse,
we need to talk about what's happening in Cuba right now. As the Trump administration is waging illegitimate wars across the world, killing countless of people, it is also strangling the Cuban people, deliberately, methodically, and openly. The pedophile Trump himself bragged about it, saying, there's an embargo, there is no oil, there's no money, there's no anything. He said it like it was something to be proud of.
First of all, she went with the bold cut. Secondly, I thought no oil was something to be proud of. You told us no oil was something to be proud of. You told us no oil was the way, that if we didn't do no oil, we were all going to die. Now all of a sudden, oil is good. So the idea of oil being good or bad is not binary, meaning it is or it isn't, but rather it is subjective based on whether or not the oil is going to capitalists or communists. She is a broken child, but she's over the age of 18 and she could, she's in charge of her own life, and you're allowed to say about her now what you will. Never forget they abused her. They did the same thing to David Hogg. They said, you're the spokesperson for the anti-gun movement. Don't let us down or children die. Go. And to make it easy, here's a degree from Harvard. No, you don't really have to do the work. Just show up to classes. And then you can build a pillow company, but not actually build the pillow company. And then we'll even make you part of the DNC, but you won't recognize how to play the game, so we'll get you out of the DNC. But we'll still have you on TV, and you'll still have opportunities to make a whole lot of money, never actually having completed anything in your life. you are going to have some unreasonable expectations right there. But there is one more thing. You know, I was sharing the Oval Office meeting between President Trump and the Prime Minister of Japan, Tsunai Takaichi. And I have a lot of hopes for Takaichi. So far, things are very impressive. She is a Thatcher-esque hardliner in that regard. And it's nice to see a partner like that in the Pacific Rim. I think it's going to be outrageously helpful and hopefully strengthening to Taiwan, to South Korea, and to Australia as they work to thwart any level of Chinese threat. But they're in the Oval, and a reporter asked the question to President Trump, why didn't you tell U.S. allies in Europe and Asia like Japan about your move in Iran? I have not heard yet. I only read what happened as we were in break. I have not yet heard it. There comes a moment where if what was reported is what was said, you're not ready. You can't actually be ready. So if you're driving, your hands on 10 and 2. If you could pull over, this might be the time. And if you're at work, try and hold it in. As reported, I got to hear it first. I don't even want to tell you what was reported. I just want to play it for you. All right?
Why didn't you tell U.S. allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about we Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor?
Oh my. I need a minute. What? How else does one respond to this? We live in a world where amazing things get said all the time, and you cannot believe that people say the things that they say. That is the most amazing thing I have. That beats maybe we'll have a friendly takeover of Cuba, which stood at the tippy top of, I can't believe that just got said. Are you kidding?
You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor?
The amount of discomfort in the face of Tsunai Takaichi. Oh my. I'm going to leave it right there for now. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz today. That clip is nuts. But I will tell you, I won't be surprised if there is a bit of blowback, and we should be clear that the Japan of World War II is not the Japan of today. And I think that line is going to be taken even by the State Department with a, what are you doing? What are you doing? What is that? That's a problem that you're begging to create. You want these people on your side. Don't go about insulting them. Not necessary. I do think there's going to be a bunch of that. I mean, there'll be some pearl clutching, but it's a crazy, crazy line. I have never heard anything like that before. Let's see. Well, I've got Comer. There we go. Let's see what Comer has to say about Epstein, shall we? Also, it should be noted that there's a whole host of nations, UK, France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Japan, a joint statement expressing their readiness to contribute to appropriate efforts to ensure safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay. When are we back there, Producer Landon? 30 seconds. Oh, yeah. Trump is Trump. Oh, I know what I voted for. I'm just saying there's gonna be a, I don't know if it'll be public. What are you doing? What are you doing? Meanwhile, there's James Comer and talking about Epstein files and oversight.
Oversight Committee for a deposition. Thus far, Mr. Endike is answering all of our questions. I would assume this deposition is going to stretch many more hours, so we'll have lots more questions as they arise. But I think that what we're seeing is a repeat of what we've seen with every other witness that we've deposed. Republicans ask very substantive questions that any curious media outlet would ask, that any American who's kept up with this story would ask. Then the Democrats get their hour and they ask about Donald Trump. And Mr. Endike said that he was not aware of any relationship that Mr. Epstein had with Mr. Trump.
That's James Comer, who heads up the House Oversight Committee as more depositions happen regarding Jeffrey Epstein, the Epstein files, and I believe in the full release of the Epstein files. But his point is taken and needs to be remembered. The left does not care what happened to young girls. They don't care. I can prove this with a story about a museum. There is legislation out there to create an American Women's History Museum as part of the Smithsonian on the National Mall. And it was introduced in a House Committee on Administration, introduced by a Republican, Malliotakis, out of New York, passed the committee 7-4 on party lines. The 4 Democrats opposed it because it will only include women and not men who say they're women. Women were sexually abused by people of all walks of life connected to Jeffrey Epstein. We want to know who they were. We want to know if they abuse these women. We want them brought to justice, plain and simple. It's simple. because women deserve to be protected, and you don't allow people who abuse women to just walk the streets. But the left doesn't care about these women. They only care about how they can hurt Trump. It's the only thing that matters to them. A museum for women. And you think men should be a part of a museum for women? They don't care about women at all. It's just, I don't know how much more clear it could be. This is Tony Katz today. Oh, don't get it twisted. Trump saying that is better than Kamala in the word salads regarding who knows better about deception than Japan. Why don't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? I'm just saying that to think that it won't get some pushback is nutty. It's a rough thing to say. The people of Japan today are not the people of Imperial Japan. It's like the people of Germany today are not the people of Nazi Germany. And yet in America, what do we say about people of Alabama or Mississippi? Oh, their voting rules can't be trusted. When finally we had a Justice Department reprieve on oversight of states in the South and their voting, the left went nuts. I think Alabama of today is Alabama of 1956. It's a gross thing to say about the people of Alabama. I like the people of Alabama, and I only hope they listen to the show. Now, some of these trolls, you don't have to listen to the show. I mean, maybe it'll help you. Maybe it'll help you. You know what? Keep listening. Keep listening. I want to be there for you. Guys, I appreciate you. I appreciate you being a part of what we do here. Don't forget, this radio show continues at WIBC.com. So head on over there and subscribe right now on the YouTubes, youtube.com/Tony Katz, on Facebook, facebook.com/Tony Katz Radio, Twitter X @Tony Katz, Instagram Tony Katz. Would you please? And thank you so very much. I appreciate you guys. Can't thank you enough, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Take care.